And yes, you are a complete stupid idiot. My God, she is so stupid. This is the same lady who thinks everything is racist. Everything and everyone is racist, except Hitler and the Holocaust. Genius, Whoopi Goldberg. In any case, Whoopi Goldberg and the ladies of The View, the combined IQ of a kumquat, they decide that they are going to start talking about the Holocaust.
Ben Shapiro versus The View is basically a weekly cage match, but no matter how bad it gets, there's one panelist who seems to be living rent-free in Shapiro's head, and that's Whoopi Goldberg.
And Whoopi Goldberg, maybe because her last name is Goldberg, decides that she is going to inject herself into this conversation.
Let's be clear, Ben Shapiro hates stupidity. He's built his entire brand on dismantling weak arguments and destroying narratives with facts, logic, and lightning speed speech. So when he sees The View, a show he calls a human repository of stupidity, he doesn't just get annoyed, he gets triggered, especially by Whoopi. But first, let's see how much Ben Shapiro wants to be on The View.
Well, folks, as you know, I love one show on TV more than any show on TV. The View. I've had a lifelong ambition to actually be a guest on The View. They'll never have me on, of course, because it would go horribly.
Now let's talk about the moment Ben Shapiro completely lost it. The topic, the Holocaust. Yeah, not exactly light material, but Whoopi Goldberg somehow managed to say something so ridiculous it lit up the internet and Ben's temper.
Isn't about race. No, it's not about race. It's about
a different race.
But it's not about race. It's not about race.
What is it about?
Because it's about man's inhumanity to man.
No!
During a 2022 broadcast, Whoopi made the jaw-dropping claim that the Holocaust wasn't about race, calling it a case of man's inhumanity to man. You could practically hear historians screaming into their coffee mugs. Ben Shapiro, who is Jewish himself, was livid.
It's about
but it's not about
ideal race.
But these are two white groups of people.
Not only is that the worst clip in the history of The View, that is the worst clip in the history of television. Like, all of television history. Whoopi Goldberg is obnoxious and stupid beyond all measure. The Holocaust was not about race. Ask the Nazis. The entire Holocaust was about race.
According to Ben, to say that race had nothing to do with the Holocaust is like saying gravity had nothing to do with a plane crash. It's not just wrong, it's idiotic.
Which is why they didn't just pick on Jews who observed Judaism. They picked on anyone who had quote-unquote Jewish blood. The entire thing was about race.
You in danger, girl.
But it didn't stop there. Whoopi doubled down. She clarified on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert and managed to make things worse.
Now, you made some news this morning.
Yes.
On The View.
I did.
When y'all were talking about the Holocaust.
Yeah.
And would you care to follow up? Clarify what you said this morning?
I don't know
because it confused some people.
It upset a lot of people,
Yes.
which was never, ever, ever, ever my intention. I thought we were having a discussion because I feel being black, when we talk about race, it's a very different thing to me. So I said that I felt that the Holocaust wasn't about race.
That's when Shapiro completely unloaded. Not only did he call her historically illiterate, but he accused her of weaponizing race whenever convenient.
It's about a genocidal attempt to exterminate the Jews, which has a thousands of year old history. And yes, it was rooted in race. And yes, anti-Semitism is different. And yes, you are a complete stupid idiot. My God, she is so stupid. This is the same lady who thinks everything is racist. Everything and everyone is racist, except Hitler and the Holocaust. Genius, Whoopi Goldberg.
But let's pause for a second. This wasn't some one-off gaffe. According to Shapiro, Whoopi Goldberg's entire persona on The View is a non-stop avalanche of lazy takes and moral confusion. And if you think Ben's critiques are overblown, just take a look at the headlines. Whoopi was suspended from The View over that Holocaust comment. ABC literally had to pull her off the air for 2 weeks. But even after that, she returned with the same smug confidence, like nothing happened. To Shapiro, that's the real issue. No accountability, no humility, just vibes. And this isn't the only topic where Whoopi and Shapiro have clashed from afar. Take her comparison of the United States and Israel to terrorist groups like Hamas and the Taliban. Yeah, she really said that.
She has maybe way more knowledge and experience in the very complicated Middle Eastern relations, but I did find that being on a foreign committee and comparing the country to a known terror. Those are organized terrorist communities. That, not Israel, but Hamas and the Taliban. That
depends on who you talk to.
Right. Well, I mean, that's how they're recognized as.
Shapiro was stunned.
Whoopi, always available to sign in.
Cool it with the anti-Semitic remarks.
To both compare Israel and the United States to terrorist organizations and also compare terrorist organizations to apparently not terrorist organizations. Like, Hamas is not a terrorist organization? Oh, man. It is amazing because Whoopi is sort of seen on this show as sort of the wise old sage. And I have to say, you need better sages.
And it gets worse. Ben has pointed out that the rest of the View panel often just sits there and lets it happen. They either agree, stay silent, or awkwardly smile through it. Why? Shapiro says it's fear of getting canceled, fear of backlash, or maybe just fear of Whoopi herself. Even when they know she's wrong, they're not willing to call her out.
You know, it's interesting that a lot of the English language has to be rethought. Blackmailing is negative, black sheep, negative. I can think of a few others if I had the time, but those words are kind of like embedded in our psyches and maybe need to be changed. Why is a black sheep a bad thing and a white sheep is a good thing? Why? They're just sheep.
Well, it's not the words. It's not the words, it's the way we think about it.
To Shapiro, The View isn't just bad TV, it's a symptom of cultural decay. And Whoopi, she's the poster child. Failing to participate in the daily ritual of groupthink on The View is basically social suicide. If you dare to say something with a shred of logic, you'll get side-eyed like you just confessed to liking math in a poetry club. According to Shapiro, having an IQ above 7 disqualifies you from the panel entirely, and he's not wrong.
You're right, Joy. Probably they started saying black sheep versus white sheep, not because of the commonality of the sheep, but because of black people in like rural Europe. Nailed it. Yeah, it's about what? African American sheep. This is so stupid. It's about black male, like black people male.
The View has been on air for years, and somehow the commentary keeps getting dumber. When the hosts aren't saying something objectively false, they're pushing outraged narratives wrapped in the robes of social justice. Then they smile into the camera like they're the moral backbone of America.
I don't think that kids in this country are learning our history. They're not learning about slavery. They're not learning about Jim Crow. They don't understand the history of black Americans in this country. If they did, they would then understand white privilege better. So my suggestion is start teaching this stuff. It's deplorable, again, that word, that they do not learn history, period. I mean, people who are young, under 50, don't know who FDR was.
Huh?
What is she talking about?
Ben's not having it, and he's got receipt.
We all learned in school about slavery and Jim Crow and FDR. Honestly, it's the people who are teaching DEI crap in public schools who actually don't care whether the kids know who FDR is. Those kids don't know the first thing about history, but they know that people are victimized. That's the only thing that matters.
After Whoopi Goldberg, the next queen of brainless commentary is Joy Behar, basically Whoopi's tag team partner in self-righteous stupidity. According to Shapiro, watching Behar talk about race is like watching someone juggle chainsaws. Blindfolded, you're not sure whether to laugh or duck. Case in point, Joy once tried to defend black Americans so aggressively, she tripped straight into racism.
Miss Universe pageant on Sunday, the winner, Sosi Bini Tunzi. I say that right?
I don't know.
That's her name. She's Miss South Africa. She said, I grew up in a world where a woman who looks like me with my kind of skin and my kind of hair was never considered beautiful. So, do her words resonate with you at all?
Because you're a black person?
Shapiro's take? Brutal. He slammed her for pretending to be an ally while actually being condescending and bigoted, in his words.
So first, I mean, honestly, that quote is also rather silly. I mean, it looks like this happened maybe 2 years ago, and this woman appears to be like 20. I love that Joy Behar's like...
That's the double standard he keeps coming back to. If a conservative said something remotely that patronizing, they'd be crucified by the Twitter mob. But because it's Joy Behar, and because the comment checks all the right woke boxes, silence. Or worse, applause. But we're not done yet. Next up, a vintage Whoopi moment that had Ben Shapiro wheezing from the sheer absurdity of it all. The topic, abortion, and specifically Whoopi's belief that men should have no say about fetuses, period.
Men have any eggs or the possibility of carrying a fetus? How dare you talk about what a fetus wants? You have no idea. Now, I'm fine if you disagree with abortion. I have no problem with that.
Yeah, you do.
My problem comes when you tell me what I need to do with my doctor and my family. How dare you?
How dare you?
How dare you?
Let's be clear, Whoopi has every right to her opinion, but when you make blanket statements that ignore biology, ethics, and logic all in one sentence, you're gonna hear from Shapiro. His response, hilarious and deadly accurate. Ben pointed out that by woke standards, Whoopi's statement is both transphobic and ageist. Transphobic because, according to the left's own rules, men can get pregnant, and ageist because apparently old people are now banned from commenting on reproductive rights, unless you're on The View, in which case you get a standing ovation.
I have a few questions many questions on this, as it turns out. First,
Transphobia.
massive transphobia. If you don't have eggs, you can't. Are you saying that some women can't be men and some men can't be women? Are you saying that unless you have eggs, you're not a woman? Is that what you're saying, Whoopi Goldberg? Also, if that is the new standard, how about women who are postmenopausal? Whoopi Goldberg? Can they have opinions on? I mean, you can't have a baby right now, I assume. How old is Whoopi Goldberg? She's in her 60s. Unless there's been some sort of miracle that has occurred.
Shapiro didn't just critique her logic, he exposed how broken the ideology behind it is. He said, everyone has a say in the abortion debate because everyone used to be a fetus. Simple, devastating, unanswerable, and yet Whoopi still sat there, delivering her lines like a wise elder stateswoman while throwing common sense off a cliff. Shapiro couldn't help but mock the irony. Isn't she supposed to be the sage of the panel? He asked. How is it that the oldest person there consistently says the dumbest things? It's comedy gold, but it's also tragic because people watch this show for real opinions. And according to Shapiro, what they're getting instead is a masterclass in progressive incoherence.
So, I noticed another thing. I can have an opinion on what a fetus would think because I was once a fetus. In fact, spoiler alert.
All of us were once fetus.
Every single one of us. I know this is crazy. And you know what I can pretty well guarantee? Fetuses don't like being stabbed in the face and sucked into a sink.
Now, imagine if Ben Shapiro actually did go on The View. Can you picture it? It would be total carnage. Every segment would turn into a courtroom trial. Every take would get dissected and demolished. And within 10 minutes, half the panel would be calling for commercial just to stop the bleeding. It hasn't happened yet, but the internet is begging for it. In the meantime, Shapiro's reactions continue to go viral because, let's be honest, it's hard to look away from a car crash. And that's exactly what The View looks like every time Whoopi or Joy opens their mouth on a serious topic. So what's the takeaway? It's not that Shapiro is some perfect political oracle. It's that shows like The View desperately needs someone like him to balance out the nonsense, to call out double standards, to challenge groupthink, and to say the things everyone else is too scared to say. Because when truth gets replaced with slogans and feelings matter more than facts, someone has to remind the world that stupidity, no matter how confident, is still stupidity. That's all for today, guys. What moment stood out the most for you? Was it Whoopi rewriting the Holocaust, Joy turning allyship into insult, or Shapiro's savage abortion clapback? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you want more takedowns like this, make sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and don't miss what we've got coming next. Trust me, it only gets spicier from here.